Hey, what's going on, guys? It is Matt again, bringing you another video. Today we're going to be looking at something a little more... well, Cortana apparently wants to interrupt me. Anyways, today we're looking at another bit of information to help some of you who are either going to be new to the League Play system or just looking to start getting into training for it, practicing your skills, and getting warmed up before League Play gets here. Today we're going to be talking about something you're going to be using a lot of, and that is a few guns. Now, there's going to be a few out there that you're going to look to be choosing from, and there's definitely going to be some that are going to look better than others, so I'm here to kind of break those down for you, specifically two of them, to get you a little practice and to kind of narrow down the list for you. And hopefully by the time League Play gets here, you'll be all practiced up, used to the way the weapons work, and, you know, cross your fingers, there's no nerfs or buffs. And we will hopefully see you out there using these. So let's go ahead and get into this. We're going to go back to the firing range, where we're going to be doing most of our tip videos, and get into two of the spectrum of assault rifles that there are.
Battery reporting in.
We're going to have two to choose from. The first one is going to be one that you're going to get very soon in the game, even through your first prestige. And the second one you're going to get a little bit later on that you might use a prestige token on. And that's going to be the ICR and the Vapor. Now, the way that I talk about most of these is going to be more... one is kind of your beginner gun, and one is going to be your advanced gun. And the reason I talk about these is, one of these is used a lot. I'm actually going to turn a few of these sound settings down just so that way it's a little bit better for you guys. Alrighty, so while we're looking at some of these, the reason I call them the beginner and the advanced gun is because they're both fairly similar. They have the same kind of shooting pattern, and they're both fairly simple to use if you can get a hold of them. It's just one is a little better on accuracy than the other, while the other one has more damage. So the first one we're going to be looking into is going to be the ICR. Now the ICR is a pretty decent weapon. You get it starting out. It's going to come with a few different attachments, and these are just the ones that I run on it. Specifically just a reflex sight, because you don't really get an ELO or anything like that. There are a few attachments where you can get multiple of the same one that enhance them a little bit, and we can go over some of those when we get more into the technical setups. And of course a long barrel, just to give you that extra range. Now, the reason you're going to run the double grip setup, even though this gun already shoots fairly straight, we're actually going to go ahead and hold on to this for a couple seconds, let that happen, and move on to this gun here. Now, this is going to be the gun at its base value. No attachments on it, nothing to enhance it at all. And we're just going to take a couple shots with it and show just really how accurate this thing is. I believe over here we have some targets that don't move. They kind of move. But just kind of looking at this, you can see it's still fairly accurate. And if we kind of take a look over at this thing, without holding any part of the stick, it's still fairly accurate. It's going to have a small grouping. You're going to have a lot of even just random headshots with it, especially if you're shooting more towards the middle of the body. Because it's going to trail up a little bit, you can kind of control it a little more. Here's one that's not there. So just taking a look at this, if we stand, we're going to stand against this, and if you aim center mass, as you can tell after about a full clip, you're starting in the middle, and it's going to go up to about the head, but it's going to stay there. So that's pretty accurate, even for just a base weapon, nothing else, and even holding it there, you can kind of keep an eye on it. But for a target that in here, here's even one you can kind of see, you can pretty much keep it around head level and get your headshots going. This is going to be the most accurate gun you're really going to find throughout the assault rifles. The clip is pretty decent. We'll actually go ahead and toss this on the ground and get the gun back up so we can get more ammo, but you can see it's going to have 35 rounds. It's going to start with about 3 clips of ammo, so you're going to be able to get a few kills with it before you need to do anything with it. Keeping Scavenger on, if you have that perk on, you're going to have more ammo as well, so you don't have to worry about it. But other than that, it's fairly decent. So if we actually swap over to the one that I have equipped on the other side, now we can kind of take a look at the way that the gun's going to shoot without anything. So as you can see, all the kind of the bullet stuff are there, and we're actually going to continue shooting this same gun with all the attachments. Not going to touch the stick. That is a full clip. Didn't touch the stick at all. Now, as you could tell, when we didn't have any attachments on it, it kind of rose up from center mass all the way up to about head level, and you were still able to hit. You can see I didn't touch the stick at all, and that shot did not move an inch. It kept the same bullet hit. It didn't move anywhere at all, and it is insanely accurate laser rifle. Even if we go over here and just shoot head level, as you can see, full clip of ammo, you can't even tell that I shot more than one shot. Now, it's not going to have as much damage as some of the other ones, but it does have pretty decent damage. So, in a sense, from this gun versus some of the others, you are trading off a little bit of damage for insane accuracy, but if you're hitting all your shots, you're going to be hitting those long-range shots, you're going to have a lot better chance of winning those long-range battles. I mean, even the long-range, we'll take a look at this here. That's a pretty distance away, and as we come up and take a look if it actually registered anything, it didn't register anything. That's okay. Let's see, we got 7 shots. Let's see if we can get somewhere that will. I guess we'll just do this because I'm sure it'll go against that. So if we shoot at that, let's see if it actually registered that far away. No, it didn't. That's okay. It's not going to be too much of a difference with that, but as you can tell, it's insanely accurate. There's really not too much of a change in the way that it fires, and at a super long range, you're going to be able to just drill people off of head spots, off of cover, and this is actually kind of a gun that's going to build confidence. It's going to build just your ability to challenge people and feel like, you know, I'm going to shoot this gun, I'm going to hit what I hit. And having the double grip on there and everything with the long barrel, there's no like rapid fire. High caliber you might switch out for something like that to get more headshot damage, but at the same time you don't really need it. This is going to be your starter gun. Everyone gets it when you first start the game, when you get your creative classes, and it's a wonderful gun to start off with, and most people are probably going to even be using this in League Play too, just because of how accurate it is, and for those who really think that they need the extra, you know, the extra accuracy, this is going to be a wonderful starting gun. With that being said, let's go ahead and hop over to a different weapon that we are pretty much just been calling your advanced or your expert level. Now this is the Vapor. I have attachments on it and everything. I don't really have one that's unattached because with 0 attachments, it's really hard to control. It's everywhere. The iron sights are decent, but they're not the best. Clip's going to be the exact same, 35 rounds, 3 mags, so you're still going to get the amount of kill chance with the ICR as you will the Vapor. This one's just got a little more kick onto it, but it's going to have that little extra damage to it that's going to help you out, and it has a little bit of extra fire rate as well, which is the reason it has the extra kind of damage per second. And with that extra fire rate, you can even run rapid fire because it's got that attachment. But right now, all I have is the double stock setup because it doesn't come with a grip, and a long barrel because it also doesn't come with quick draw or anything like that. So I have the long barrel on it still and an ELO sight. Choosing not to use the red dot on this one. For some reason, there are some guns that the red dot doesn't get the greatest hit recognition, so sometimes I'll run it, but on this I choose the ELO. We're just going to take a look at this here. Same distance away, we're going to take a look at some of the recoil. This is without touching the stick at all. And as you can see after the first test, without touching the stick, it's kind of got some insane recoil. Now it's going to shoot the same every single time you pull the trigger after taking a second to wait. That's one of the beauties about the way that the game's working now. So you can kind of predict how it's going to go, and it kind of has that up and to the right pattern. So it kind of does a U. It'll start left, and then about halfway through it'll turn right. So if you learn to control it, it's fairly good, and with the extra fire rate that you saw, it's going to kill a little bit faster. So really, you're pretty much got a choice, because even if I try to aim this, I mean, that's not the greatest, but it's still in an area. We'll wait for that to go away here. But if you can be accurate enough with it and hit your shots, actually, we'll go over here and do the head test. Some of the shots hit. I think I missed a few, but you can still kind of be semi-accurate. Did that thing make a noise when I shot at it? No. So if you can be semi to pretty accurate with the gun, it makes up for the lack of recoil. If you can't be very accurate with it, we'll try this one more time. So even after a few bullets, I tend to find myself getting a little out of sync with it. So if you can hit your first 5 or 6 shots, you're pretty much golden. It's after that where it kind of gets a little wonky on you. So you've really just gotta maintain your aim on it. But it's a very reliable gun, even with its kind of lack of accuracy. It's going to do a little more damage than some of the other guns. It's definitely been one of the favorites that people have been using. I don't know if there's a Maddox on here or not. I don't think so. The other gun that people have been trying to use is the Maddox. It's not as great, but we may, depending on whether it gets under for a buff, it may end up being somewhat in like meta terms, I guess. But as of right now, those are the two guns that people have mainly been using, is either an ICR or the Vapor, for those exact reasons. If you have the accuracy to, and even with the Vapor, you may want to turn down your sensitivity a little bit, which, actually, now that I think about it, let me try that. So, excuse me. So what we're going to do is, I run a 5.5 setting. So we turn, actually, let's do the extreme. We'll go down to a 3, and this, oh gosh. Alright, so we're at a 3. Let's see how... So that one kind of stayed closer together. So I guess if you're running a lower sensitivity, or you just have the ability to control your accuracy a little more, the Vapor might be more in your best interest. If you're running more of the higher sensitivities, or you kind of go back and forth a little bit, having problems with accuracy, the ICR is probably going to be more your speed, just because it has no recoil whatsoever. So you're going to be able to hit those long range shots, and really, if you just don't touch your stick and you're on target, you should be good. And it should be good for traction too. If you're having problems tracking people, the ICR is going to be a lot better than the Vapor. Being able to just stay on target and know that where you're shooting is where your bullets are going, versus the Vapor, where you may have to, especially like this, if someone's in the window, you've got a small room for error, where with the ICR, you've got a little bigger room to work around what you're using. So right now, those are going to be the two guns for assault rifles, at least, that you're really going to be wanting to use, especially when it comes to getting set up, getting your practice in. At first, I was a huge fan of the Vapor, just for practicing purposes and working on my game. I'm still in that same boat, just because I feel like it does a little bit more damage with the fire rate, and if you choose to, you can run rapid fire on the Vapor, so if you can manage that recoil, you can really pump out some damage. Just the ICR with the double grip has recently been brought up to me, so I didn't know that was... I knew the ICR was pretty accurate, but with the double grip, I didn't know how kind of overpowered it is. So you kind of have a choice there, whether you run the Vapor or the ICR. without rambling anymore. I think those would be the two that you'd want to be practicing with up until league play, unless there's any buffs or nerfs, which those have yet to been talked about. So I feel like until the major update comes out and league play is brought in, I think the guns will pretty much stay the same way that they are up until then. So one final go over: if you are worried about accuracy, if you're worried about tracking your opponents and hitting those long-range shots, use the ICR. If you're more a mid-range player or up close and you're more worried about getting that damage out fast, you can control your gun a little better than most players, or you're just wanting something to practice to focus on working on, recoil tracking, getting used to the more expert style guns, I guess you could say, then you'll want to use the Vapor. But other than that, that is going to do it for this video. Hope you all enjoyed. If you did, leave a like. And if you want to see more of these tips, these are going to be going out very regularly, at least throughout the League Play series. There's a few things that I'm going to want to touch on in a later video that's going to more involve plans and things to come. But hopefully this was helpful. And as always, I will see you all in the next video. Adios.